Welcome back to Twin Tarot. I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
And today we are going to talk about...
your favorite judge of mine, Aileen Cannon.
She is. Aileen Cannon is definitely my favorite judge.
She is. She. You think about her all the time, I bet. So
get your Aileen Cannon dartboards here.
Exactly.
Limited time only.
Aileen
Cannon pinatas.
Aileen Cannon bop bag.
The Aileen Cannon dustbin.
The Aileen Cannon whack-a-mole.
Aileen Cannon soap. Ew.
So
I'd lose.
So with the
Linda G's got Donald Trump toilet paper, by the way.
Oh yes. I wouldn't wipe my dog's butt with that stuff.
I'd wipe your dog's butt with that stuff.
Well,
you don't have a dog.
Not anymore. We used to. He was a good boy. So, as we all are aware, the Supreme Court has decided that presidents are kings.
Yes. I mean, no.
Yes.
No.
And no. And
no.
Justice Clarence Thomas, who is the second black Supreme Court justice, just in case anyone was wondering where he was in the order.
Yes.
Do you know that Thurman Thomas was the first?
Thurman Thomas, the
running back.
Running back for Buffalo Bills.
Thurgood Marshall was the first.
Running back for the Buffalo Bills.
Yes,
while Thurman Thomas.
When he retired, they put him on the Supreme Court and brought in Thurman Thomas to pick it up.
Thurgood Marshall could really exploit the holes, though. He really pushed it as secondary. If only they'd given him the ball more, he would have probably helped them win a Super Bowl. Four in a row, man.
Boy, there was public education in the 70s.
Long-suffering Buffalo Bills fans.
Oh, God.
If they only had drafted Thurman Thomas as a running back instead. Yeah,
they would have really had a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Maybe they could have taken their losses to the Supreme Court and had them overturned.
So Clarence Thomas basically got the ruling, looked over at Aileen Cannon and said, I really don't know if Jack Smith's appointment as a special...
are you ready? Please write this down as I say it. I'm dictating here.
It's just, talk about signaling a course of action for...
as far as he didn't have some flags he was putting there.
A little semaphore version of what she needs to do.
Flashing lights.
So we want to do a reading on Aileen Cannon, and how is she going to...
is she going to take the hint?
Yeah, exactly. Is Jack Smith's days numbered as a special prosecutor numbered? And, how is this... If the case ever goes forward... Or is this just going to give her more ammunition to either delay or dismiss the case? Which is like crazy because it's the most obvious slam dunk case out there.
Ask Private Teixeira for the next 20 years he's going to be spending in prison, how he feels about this case.
Yep.
All right, entertainment purpose only. Let's look at the energy around Judge Cannon post-Supreme Court ruling. Oh, hey, it's the 5 of Wands, the Drunken Hillbilly Brawl card.
That's right.
Ain't no brawl like a hillbilly brawl. All right, so Judge Cannon, I think this actually describes her calendar.
I thought that described her mind.
I think it might do that too.
That's her logic pattern.
A mass of conflicting electrical impulses. There's your Star Trek original series reference.
Oh, there you go.
Because that's Nomad, and he's perfect.
Oh, yes, Nomad is perfect.
It's funny watching that show. It's like, oh, that wasn't a sexist comment. Jeez, yay. We've come a long way. Okay, so a lot of turmoil going on in her world, but I think getting this case. Couple of things. First thing,
yes,
she wanted to rule on. Some readers have seen that she wanted to rule on this case because it would build her brand and get her. On the fast track to like a Supreme Court justice thing. So she might actually be conflicted because if she dismisses Jack Smith as an illegitimately appointed special counsel, the case goes away. And she can't show her brilliance to the world to be like an AG or a Supreme Court justice. So she might be conflicted. But I still think this is her court schedule.
She's certainly compromised.
Yeah. And crossed with the Hanged Man and the Knight of Wands. Okay, this she's in the turmoil right now. She just heard a couple of Mondays ago, there were arguments made by... How ironic was it? Okay, first off, let's talk coincidences, shall we? Glasses come off. A couple of months ago, Donald Trump's legal team wanted to take to Judge Cannon's court the notion that Jack Smith was illegally appointed as a special counsel.
Yes.
And a number of legal experts said, this is ridiculous. This is decided case law time and time again. Going, back to Nixon with the special prosecutor there, through Bill Clinton and all the other special prosecutors. This has been challenged multiple times, and the special counsel has always been upheld. So when she scheduled a hearing, people were like, it's just another delay tactic. No, it wasn't. It was part of the plan. Now, the question you might ask yourself is,
Yeah.
strange thing to ask yourself, but okay, people do this. Actually, you and I are the only people that do this.
Yeah.
Why would he do that? What would inspire Trump's attorneys to do this? Well, maybe they were given a little bit of a heads up from, I don't know.
Through the back.
Mike Johnson admitted that he was in contact with the Supreme Court about these decisions. Seems to me that's a little bit out of his lane.
Yep.
So the Supreme Court, and probably what happened was Mike Johnson's communications got discovered by somebody. So he's getting ahead of the story saying, well, of course I'm in contact with the Supreme Court. Duh. Basically following the Trump playbook of, if you get caught doing a crime, just admit it and act like it's normal.
Yep.
Of course I was robbing this bank. Who doesn't rob banks?
Yeah.
I always going with striped shirts and a little bandit mask on and a loot sack and a gun. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
So I think what happened was Johnson was in contact with the Supreme Court relaying messages to Trump. And the Supreme Court basically said, we're going to make our ruling, and we're going to say Jack Smith was an illegal special counsel. So bring that up in the court case for Judge Cannon to hear on, and she's going to rule on it. She hasn't ruled yet. Now the Supreme Court issue drops, and what do you know? There's a thing in there saying from Clarence Thomas on a concurrent opinion that not only did they give king-like powers to the President of the United States, but, just as an aside,
Wink,
special
wink,
counsels,
nudge, nudge.
I don't think he was properly appointed. Wink, wink. So, coming back down here, she's been waiting. There's been a lot of turmoil. She's been waiting for this decision to drop. This is part of the plan, and this is going to give her the out to say, okay, you can now dismiss this case with prejudice because Jack Smith was legally appointed, and all the evidence needs to be tossed out. And that will go to the appeals court. Jack Smith will appeal it, but the appeals court will probably rule, I'm assuming, following the law, that Jack Smith was legally appointed, which then means it's going to get appealed to the Supreme Court, which is going to then say they're going to debate whether or not he was
legally appointed.
So that's where we're going with this.
The ultimate in delay tactic.
So I think the turmoil is going to be, she's going to get this case. She's going to dismiss it with prejudice. It's going to get appealed. And that's what's going to get her removed from this case. But it's part of the plan.
Okay.
They're shooting their shot at this point.
Yep.
This card came up before.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the past we have the Emperor card. To me, this is going to be the Supreme Court. So now I have to wonder what that last reading was.
Yeah, exactly.
With this one right there. This is the Supreme Court ruling. We had the Trump card and the Supreme Court ruling in the Judge Aileen.
Yes, we did.
So, Supreme Court, presidents or kings, they're the emperors.
Yep.
Clothed or not, you have to suffer through the orange spray tan.
Yes, exactly.
Just like Judge Mershon, he got the Fool card. So, what do we have? Supreme Court gave a ruling. Judge Thomas in particular said he's illegally appointed on this one. This gives her the avenue to go ahead and dismiss this case with prejudice. Say this thing's done and dusted. That's an appealable ruling, and now we go to the appeals court here. Overarching energy. Look at all these major arcana. 1, 2, 3, 4. The overarching energy is the Lover's card. She's done her job. She's some folks say, she's just standoffish and she does her thing. I think she's been coached. Clarence Thomas seems to me made it really obvious that he was coaching her, and because he's the Supreme Court Justice on... Hold on for a second. The emergency has been dealt with.
It's a good thing we know where the pause button is versus the stop recording button.
Okay. Where was I? I was in a mid-rant. Basically, Judge Cannon's she's been coached. She's been doing favors. Judge Thomas has taken the mask off. It's midnight. The mask is off. We know who's been coaching her. And he happens to be the Supreme Court Justice that oversees cases in Florida. So if the appeals court in Florida rules on that and it goes to the Supreme Court, it's going to go to Clarence Thomas.
Oh, lovely.
Which means that he could render an opinion all on his own, or it might have to be discussed with the Supreme Court. I would imagine the Supreme Court will want to discuss this, but Thomas himself could put the kibosh on this case. Mm-hmm. If I understand my Supreme Courts, my districts, and who represents what.
Well, that kind of sums it up.
The lesson to be learned from this is the death card. Judge Cannon, and look at all the major arcana. This case is coming to an unseemly end. She's done her job. She's delayed things past the election, or she's delayed things, and now they're putting the stake in the heart. When I've read on this before, this card kept coming up in the Two of Wands, and I kept saying, and the Nine of Wands, that there was a plan in place. Judge Cannon was delaying the court cases, and there was one more act that she needed to. Nine of Wands was like, it's the penultimate act.
Yeah.
So when she was delaying things, that's when Trump was filing these motions about Jack Smith. So they already knew at that point that they were going to set this thing up where Trump would not be held liable, and then Thomas comes in and gives her the stake to put in the heart of this.
Mm-hmm. No, there you go. There's 3 stakes in the heart.
And God is my witness, and my brother sitting next to me. That was the top card of the deck.
I don't know. I did have to go down and swap
that's
the propane
true. I could have
tank.
swapped things out. Not 1, 2, but 3. 3 stakes in the heart, because we want to make sure this vampire is good and dead.
Dead, and dead. So, if they remove Jack Smith, can they basically refile it with a different prosecutor? I mean, the underlying crime is still this. It's kind of, isn't that like Fonnie Willis? It's just like, if they say Fonnie Willis needs to be removed from the case, they could always put, an assistant DA or some other district attorney on the case.
What they're going to make the argument, I think, is that there should have been no investigation in the first place. So all the evidence that he's collected, all the grand jury testimony, everything from the minute Jack Smith took this case over, from that point on, is null and void. That's not what I want to read, but that's the energy I'm getting from this. That's the plan.
That's the plan right now.
Now, again, that's the energy. We're asking the energy around Judge Cannon. That could be how that doesn't mean this is how it's going to plan out. This is how the energy she sees how it's going to plan out.
Yeah, this is kind of like if you're playing football, the coach just called the play.
Yeah, they scripted out the play. Now, if everybody just executes the job like they're supposed to, instant touchdown.
Yeah. So it just depends what the defense does and if there are any mistakes on the offensive side, or if there's any referees that are that we can buy off. How about a follow-up reading on that?
Oh, God. Okay, so...
You want to do like a Jack Smith energy on this?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I'm annoyed now. So with this Judge Cannon, that's the energy. So how is she going to rule when she rules on the... basically... That's how she sees the plan going. For Carter, will she rule that this case is to be dismissed with prejudice or at least to be dismissed because Jack Smith is an illegitimately appointed special counsel? It probably would be with prejudice, meaning you can't appeal it, you can't bring it back. But
well, that's not a good
3
card.
of coins. The behind the scenes, the backroom deals that are being cut.
Mm-hmm.
that, as Gary's saying, that's not a great card here. This is her, being instructed on how to do things. This would be your judge, and these would be your experts. This is the stonemason and the engineers.
Yeah.
Engineers come up with the plan. The stonemason executes the plan. Mm-hmm. The Federalist Society and Clarence Thomas come up with the plan. The Judge Cannon executes the plan.
Boy, you got to shuffle those cards, man.
There's the Knight of Wands. There's the plan in action. She's stuck at this point. She's too far in. She can't back out, man. She's too committed, too far in.
You can't back out.
Yeah.
You owe us, honey.
That's right. You're in too deep.
Yes.
Let's come up with as many movie quotes as we can.
My God, it's like every 80s gangster mob movie.
We can't get the feds in this.
Yeah, can't have the feds involved in this.
Every time I try to get out, they drag me back in.
That's right.
She's stuck. She's in. She's in. And the thing that she's stuck with, again, when this case gets dismissed, she doesn't get her day in the sun. No, she's going to be taken care of. No, basically, we appointed you to this position. We told you what to do. You did your bit right there. You were
You're a useful fool.
You're a loyal follower. We'll reward you greatly for this, but the plan's going on. Your time in this plan's over with. Mm-hmm. Thank you for playing your role. Don't expect your Supreme Court appointment anytime soon.
Yes.
Well, as soon as we can get a Republican in the White House and a Republican-controlled Senate, I'm sure we will get right on appointing you to the Supreme Court.
Yes, indeed.
So, what is she going to do? She's going to follow the
plan.
Yep, following the plan. Now, assuming that this case is appealable, will Jack Smith and Company appeal this case? Because here's the funny thing about it. That only applies to Donald Trump. It does not apply to the 6 unindicted co-conspirators. So it just might be that, all right, well, oh no, that's not, I'm sorry, that's January 6th case. We're talking Mar-a-Lago Documents case. So just because Trump gets off scot-free, does that mean that Walt Nada and Carlos de Oliveira get off free? So let's look at the energy around them. Let's see. Will this case be appealed?
Yeah, there you go.
Let's go to the appeal.
One little baby step at a time. Now, this is the current energy.
Yeah, current energy here. Will this, assuming that Judge Cannon kills this case, will it be appealed?
Boy, Trump's involved in this again.
Should I do a 4-card or 7-card on this one?
I'll do a 4.
Okay, so will it be appealed? This might go the same way that the Judge Mershon case went, because that's the same dang card that came up there. Do I have the Emperor underneath it too? No, the 2 of Wands. The Devil card. The Lovers. Those cards are the same thing, huh?
Yep.
So, again, corruption. And this has to do with Judge Cannon's agreement that she had in that upper position here. We got the 6 of Coins, the 6 of Cups, and the 2 of Wands. Will it be appealed? I think so. Let's put it this way. If this case is appealable, Jack Smith will appeal it. And he will probably say, this is a corrupt ruling. This does not... he'll go, basically, he's going to go through the motions. He's going to appeal this case because you have to. Because traditionally speaking, special counsels are allowed to do this. This is how we've always done it. This has been decided case law.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm going to go through the process. It's worth going through the process to have basically the appeals court rule on this, even if I think when it gets to the Supreme Court or to Justice Thomas, it's going to get overruled. He's not naive. He knows what Thomas is going to do, but he wants history to show that Thomas is corrupt, that the Supreme Court decision is corrupt. You're building up a case history. You can't, basically, they're not going to give him the hand-waving argument of, oh, that's not what we meant. You know how Trump will say, "I hate black people," and then entertainment purpose only. He's never said that we know of.
Yeah.
And then other people will say, "Well, he didn't mean that. What he meant was he hates libs." You know, or they come up with some. He hates people that have to work at night because they can't be home with their families. So they try and find some way to
spin it,
to spin his crazy. And then Trump, of course, denies everything. I never said that, and I never meant that, and so on and so forth. And this is going to be the same thing with this case. It's like, Thomas said it. I'm going to make him own his words. So, do we ask that if it gets appealed? Well, that also requires Thomas to still be on the Supreme Court. If it gets held up in the appeals, if it gets appealed successfully.
Thomas.
What will the Supreme Court do?
Okay.
Ace of Swords. Oh, Sword of Truth and Justice. It just popped up. Thomas. That Ace of Swords. I was on our live feed the other night. I saw Jack Smith working on another case.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Lack of its integrity, illusions, delusions. If it goes to the Supreme Court, it's going to be a test of their integrity.
What case law?
Part of the plan.
Yeah.
It's going to be, or poor John Roberts, you've done this to yourself. And you got the 9. You got for the 9 Supreme Court justices here. And the devaluing of the Supreme Court. So it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I think it will go to all 9. And they're going to evaluate it. And there's going to be 3 justices. It's part of the plan, but I think it's going to be another one of those 6-3 decisions, right around a party ideology. And the value of the Supreme Court just went down that much more.
Yep.
Because of this. So, as the energy stands now, Judge Cannon will likely dismiss this case, or at least that's what she wants to do. If it does get dismissed, Jack Smith will appeal it, likely will win the appeal. It will go to the Supreme Court, and they'll put the kibosh on.
Boy, I'm so glad I came over to your place to do some readings.
Happy Independence Day, everybody. Yay! It's recorded on July 4th. Yeah. Now, America!
Yeah. Yeehaw.
Home of the free.
I'm going to go buy me a pickup truck with a diesel engine and roll some coal on some poor cyclist or something.
Exactly. While hanging your American flags upside down, your Trump American flags right side up.
Good Lord.
Okay.
Now, so I also understand, we've caveated this to the fairly well, but that's what the current energy is.
Yeah.
I mean, one act performed by an individual that didn't follow the plan can derail this whole thing. If someone gets like a shred of consciousness or ethics, this whole thing could turn on a dime. So it's probably stuff we'll read on in the future just to see if anything's changed.
Yeah, as you get closer to the actual event, the readings do tend to get more accurate. There's a lot of free will in this world.
Yep.
And a lot of decisions people can make. For all you know, Justice Alito and Justice Thomas might decide that they want to spend more time with their wives, and they're replaced with a couple of liberal justices, and all of a sudden you go from a 6-3 conservative majority to a 5-4 liberal majority. And that gives a total different spin on what it is. But right now, if nothing changes and people do the most likely thing, this is the most likely event to happen.
Yeah.
All right, so we will leave it here unless you have other questions.
No, that was all I had.
Okay, thank you very much for watching this video, supporting our channel. We appreciate it.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe, leave comments. I go through all the comments. I respond to as many as I can. And I imagine I'm going to get a lot of very happy, uplifted comments on this one.
Oh, and for those asking at home.
Yes,
Carnelian. Rose quartz.
Rose quartz.
Prehnite. sodalite, rainbow obsidian, tumbled amethyst, and quartz that's rutilated with black tourmaline inside. So those are the stones.
Yes. We get lots of questions on what stones we have on the table.
If you stuck through to the end, congratulations. You got the primer on it, and everybody else is going to be insane.
Yeah, so if you start asking what stones are on the table, we know you didn't watch to the end.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a great day, folks. Bye.